based on ongoing income from the fund, or are that expected returns based on a future value? That's important too.
Well, when you say future value, that's typically on a syndication, is what you're talking about, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for the most part, this would have been a no-brainer before COVID.
I love no-brainers. I always run from them.
Because your typical syndication is going to be a development project, from scratch.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a value add on an existing property.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is if you're going to develop a multifamily or you're going to develop a self-storage, typically it costs you less money to start from scratch, build up, because your construction costs are going to be less than buying something that's currently stabilized and cash flowing.
Mm-hmm.
But you're expecting your value to be a certain amount at the end. So if your returns are based on, and this could be getting distributions along the way.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to use any numbers here. So let's say you're going to get 6% along the way.
All right.
Or you get nothing for the first couple of years.
Nothing for the first couple of years, then a 6 pref kicks in, and then you have whatever the back end waterfall.
Yeah, and you have a kicker at the end. And what the kicker would be was if the sponsor either sells the project or if the sponsor refinances the project and then pays you out with the cash out refinance. Because what they're doing is they're basing it on a particular value at the beginning and then one expected value at the end. Well, what happens if that value at the end doesn't happen?
Well, and exactly. And just likewise, if you're in a scenario like that, one recommendation that I would make is make the back end kicker a percentage of your allocated capital. Do not make it a percentage of the return on the asset. And why do I say that? Well, because you're probably going to go into it thinking, well, if they sell this thing for what they say it's going to be worth, I'm going to make this much money on a percent of the returned capital. Well, what happens if they refi it? Well, when you refi it, they can only refi at a certain LTV, typically 75 to 80. And then that means that 20 to 25% of that equity is still locked up. Right. You can't touch it. So that return is now much smaller than you thought. So I would always, recommend make it a percentage of your contributed capital.
Right. Absolutely. Now, the good news on the refinance part is that kicker is tax free.
If it's a refi, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If it's a sale, then you're going to have capital gains. But hey,
1031 it until they take it away.
Here's the thing: you've had depreciation all this time.
That's right.
In the meantime, so it may wash.
Yeah.
Assuming you have other passive gains.
I imagine. I mean, maybe. I'm not a CPA by any means, but I imagine in the course of one of these deals, if you're taking depreciation, it would at least cover, if not outweigh, your 27% capital gains tax.
Right.
It's going to wash, if not be in your favor.
And look, real estate has about a 3.5% appreciation over time. Since the 50s, real estate has appreciated 3.5%. It doesn't go up quickly.
Until now.
Sometimes it goes down.
Until now.
But it's not a straight line.
Yeah.
It usually averages out that way. And occasionally you're going to have a black swan like COVID that changes markets and sometimes changes them permanently. I mean, you're going to have more and more people moving back into the office, but you're going to have an awful lot of them that are never coming back to the office. They're going to be able to work remotely, and they're going to have to change office spaces.
Yeah.
Because of the quick acceleration of e-commerce, because a lot of the stuff that's happening now with the e-commerce business was stuff that they were projecting out the next 5-7 years, and it was all accelerated during this. You had people that never shopped online and now are very proficient using this to order stuff with now because they had to, or they weren't going to be able to eat, right? So it has accelerated a lot of this, and it changes markets. So that's one of the beauties of being in real estate, is that things always change and being able to keep up with that.